This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 here with Lictor as the yellow allies on the right side of Infinity Isle. And on the left side, we do have Konghans, I do believe, and it is, or what the WTF, I almost said the not abbreviated version, but it is going to be wtfMEplz, is another name that Konghans goes by, and actually I'm not sure which is the original. I think it's WTF. But we will see. In fact, we do have some dogs. But yes, I am going to be back, and I am back with a brand new microphone. This is actually the first time I'll be using this microphone. I did get it on New Year's Eve, and so I'm pretty excited to have it. I'm actually going to be trying a little bit different of a recording setup because Fraps compresses the audio like no other, which means I'm basically trying out another audio recording setup. And it does look like Lictor is going to be going for barracks and then, of course, refinery. And look at that, Konghans did the exact same thing. If anyone is surprised, you are quite new to Red Alert 3 then, I would guess. Either that or you just don't watch a lot of allies, because that is exactly what you would expect to see, and both of these players will be going for that dual ref most likely. And Infantry Wars, oh, Konghans, he does lose 3 Peacekeepers right there. No, the micro is actually good enough to not lose 3, so it actually is going to be a completely even exchange, and actually Lictor just got ahead by killing a couple of extra units, but Konghans is going to be going... Okay, his MCV is down here, so he is going to be going for that water expansion. And look at that dog scouting. He's going to spot the MCV heading to that high ground, and then he'll know exactly what his opponent is doing. And he'll also, of course, spot, hey, you know, there's no airfield in the main. There's also no expansion back here. I know what my opponent's doing, and right there, there's Lictor's dog. Of course, what you would expect to see out of players like this. So both of these players are going to be going for different expansions. They're both taking their thirds at about the same time, their third Ornoid. And then, of course, we would probably expect to see a armor facility get thrown down, and I do expect that Lictor or Konghans is going to be heading up to the central ridge to be expanding. However, he could be taking, actually no, he's going to be sending his prospector up there, so he could just be waiting, keeping his MCV down here so that he has that build radius for whatever reason that, you know, why ever he would want that. And that prospector desperately does need to get back to work. Lictor needs his monies. And actually, both of these players just having a somewhat of a mutual stalemate. They're both just kind of chilling on their respective sides of the map. And of course, immediately after say that, Konghans charges his men into the shotgun lines of Lictor. And Lictor's like, you know, maybe I won't engage there. Of course, yep, multi-gunner turret is going to be finishing up just there. I guess we could turn on health bars if we really wanted to. But I mean, please. So the dog actually does spot that seaport, which means, hey, I better get a seaport of my own. And we actually could be seeing crazy naval battles, which is odd that we don't see naval battles as much, considering how much the devs were originally pushing Navy and the entire water aspect of Red Alert 3, and actually going for Riptide versus Dolphin. So, well, the Dolphin is definitely going to win the fight versus the seaport, and well, probably win the fight versus the prospector as well, although those prospectors have been known to transform. And actually going to be dropping that multi-gunner turret. However, it is low on power, and that Dolphin's going to escape on out of there. You're going to need quite a few Dolphins to actually break that Riptide, and quite a few more to break down that multi-gunner turret. So the expansion for Konghans is safe as of currently. He's got his 4th up and running, but look at that. It's like a mirror matchup, and then they're mirroring almost their builds, but it's just so hilarious. And this dog is absolutely getting sent to its doom. Will not even, yeah, it's just, that's, I mean, Lictor's like, oh, hey, I see you have a wall of guys there, but that's really all he could see. And that's really the only thing he could have hoped to see if he was hoping to get a full scout out of that dog. He would be sorely disappointed, but also you would be slightly delusional in that you're not going to get that scout out. But we are going to be having 3 Dolphins and an assault destroyer, a unit that we don't see quite nearly enough in these allied mirror matchups, and this allied mirror matchup actually bringing us into a lull. Lictor going to be down on power, which means it would be a great time for some Vindicators or Apollos, rather, harassment. And I'm curious as to why he would send that Apollo off without any support. And of course, activating that black hole armor, always a good idea. Basically, it draws all of the fire within that little graphic area of effect, and it'll draw all of that fire into the assault destroyer, but then it boosts the assault destroyer's armor way the heck up, so it can take quite a bit of damage. Also, quite a good tactic to pull an assault destroyer, put some engineers and IFVs. I remember that was used at one point to quite some effect. Of course, hasn't been seen in quite a long while. I'd be kind of interested to see a pro make that work, because with the right unit combinations, you could definitely own faces with that, and also own lots of Riptides with that. Those Dolphins definitely do need to be watching themselves. They need to be absolutely very careful, and the Assault Destroyer's like, we don't want to engage. So actually, this turned into don't rush 20 minutes, pulls guys, thanks. And thanks is, of course, going to be spelled THX, which that's what the title of this game would be if it was in the lobby. However, it's not in the lobby. It is, in fact, on gamereplays.org, but that is not going to be the point. Apollo's sitting watch over here, and lots of health bars on those walls. Both of these players just kind of chilling. They're just, you know, neither one of them wants to engage because neither one of them has a clear advantage. And, of course, neither one of them has scouted the other one in quite a while. So they kind of know what each other has, and they kind of know that I really don't have an advantage. The expansions were basically mirrored. No one has taken a fifth or no just quite yet. Wouldn't be surprised to see one of them take it rather soon. Possibly Konghans. He might be looking to take one, although Lictor is in basically the same position. And it's just this weird stalemate where both of them know, hey, we're not exactly in great shape, but we're not in terrible shape either. They're pretty equal, but this is going to be the one battle that we're actually going to be waiting for. And actually, Konghans could definitely lose it all, especially with that cryo shot going down there, freezing everything, but Lictor is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage and actually get completely cleaned up there. So Lictor definitely losing that battle, but will he win the war? That is the real question. Of course, Hydrofoils using their little fancy no attack gun, and yep, going to be using all of his bombs on that one unit. And oh, gotta watch the micro on that multi-gunner turret. Make sure that you don't take that hydrofoil off of it too soon, because, you know, then you just get shot up, and that is never a good time. So Apollos versus Apollos, and of course a hydrofoil getting mixed in as well. And interestingly enough, Lictor going for 4 Apollos versus 3 Apollos and a Vindicator just gives you a little bit more firepower for your ground army. And it does look like Konghans going to be moving over, and he's looking to completely take down this seaport. Going for double seaports. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one get taken out, and by taken out I do mean sold off. No, he's not going to sell it off. He wanted to buy time with that seaport, keep it alive as long as possible, and those cryocopters are actually going to survive for at least a little bit longer. Konghans wasn't able to quite keep them alive, and then he just sells off that seaport. He could have sold them both off, got a little bit more money. And Konghans is looking to be in pretty bad shape, because this is exactly what the devs were always talking about. If you cede the water to your opponent, you are going to give them a huge advantage, because now we have no naval yards, but then also Lictor is about to be on 3 ore nodes versus the 4 ore nodes. Yeah, gotta stop that prospector from doing that massive damage with your hydrofoil. Always a good choice, but you really have to either take control of the water if your opponent goes to the water, or you just kind of do what they do in most games and just ignore the water forever and don't actually use it. However, we are going to be seeing Apollos rushing in from the side. Konghans has this fairly well locked up. However, Lictor, just kidding, because Lictor is actually going to be dropping in his own Apollos, and he should be able to clean up this expansion fairly easily, especially if these hydrofoils actually get over here and do some damage. They're, of course, scared of those, scared of the cryocopters freezing them down, and yeah, there we go. Riptide, gotta break apart your frozen Riptide buddies that are not your buddies because they're on the opposing team. And that Dolphin, possibly the first time anyone's actually ever used that ability in a cast, in a game that I've cast. But I was wrong. That expansion will actually stand, and breaking apart frozen Dolphin, I mean, at that point, if you freeze the Dolphin and then you break it apart, you can just take it to the market right then. Put it in bags, put it on the freezer. There you go. You got freeze-dried. That's not freeze-dried. You've got insta-frozen Dolphin, and who doesn't want to eat frozen Dolphin? You could replace, like, you know, frozen tuna instead. You could just get frozen Dolphin. See, you know, Future Tech, if they tried, they could probably just take over, like, the home foods market. Like, that's just a natural transition. Military-grade weapons, and military-grade weapons, but also Athena cannons, a staple of the late-game Allied army. So, skipping Frozen Dolphin and going straight to redonkulous amounts of Peacekeepers and also Javelin Troopers. So this game started out kind of slow. I was honestly, I was like, I don't even know if this is worth it. But Lictor and Konghans showing us that they are absolutely silly, particularly Konghans, which is like, psh, I don't need no Mirage tanks, no Guardian tanks, no Athena cannons. He does have one Athena cannon. But he's like, I just need that tier 1 infantry, man. Actually going to be targeting down that civilian structure just so that his MiGs, or his Apollos, rather, he's not Soviet, please. Communists don't have Apollos, they've got MiGs. But also, of course, Athena cannon's very good at that sort of almost splash damage because of the way it just sort of trails into the guys who are running right behind you. If you run into a giant laser, you have no one to blame but yourself, and of course completely absorbing the trial shots, but those Athena cannons are going to get completely taken out. Lictor has to do something about this massive infantry army, but he's just getting completely overwhelmed and totally owned, and there the last Athena cannon will go down. Lictor really can't do anything about this. We are going to be seeing the fire sale of Lictor. So Konghans somehow able to win this game without really ever firing a shot. I'm pretty sure there was only like 2 casualties for this entire game, and somehow Lictor is actually going to get taken out with barely a fight at all. And yeah, everything is just going to steamroll his entire base. Athena cannons, they just kind of skip the MCV. They're like, MCVs, you know, that definitely didn't lead to players making crazy comebacks in other games. The Peacekeepers are going to be rushing forward. Is the Micro going to be good enough to take out a bajillion Peacekeepers with only 2 out of Lictor? Actually, he's not doing too bad of a job with those cryocopters, able to do quite a bit of damage, and this game is not over yet. Somehow Lictor is still in the game. He only has like 1 refinery, 2 refineries left. Actually, 3 refineries. He only lost 1, come to think of it, because this one never actually did get taken out. But Konghans is actually now stuck behind enemy lines, much like Harrison Ford. I don't even remember if that was a Harrison Ford movie. But Konghans is going to be getting a couple of his Peacekeepers cleaned up, and where are the cryocopters? They desperately need to get on this action, and at the very least, freeze down some of these Peacekeepers. The Javelin Troopers will get taken out pretty quickly if there's enough Peacekeepers to deal with them, and right now there is not. Bringing the total refinery count down to 2, soon to be only 1 Prospector on the map for Lictor, but he's re-expanded his MCV, and if he gets the crush on all of these Javelin Troopers, he might be able to... There's no way he can take this game back. Konghans has got 4 refineries, probably could take a 5th quite easily. I mean, he could even take this as his 5th refinery, but somehow Lictor managing to hold on. I was ready to count him out early, and of course, it's like every time I do that, every time I'm like, yeah, this player's out, you know, there's no way there's a comeback, and then he's just like defeats the army, wins the game with 1 unit, and it's probably like a Prospector. He just runs over everything with a Prospector, which actually would be quite impressive. However, Aegis Shield going down for absolutely no reason, and all of the Peacekeepers are running to the north side of the island, really for no reason, but throwing down yet another airfield. So Konghans is like, I'll transition out of 1 billion infantry into 1 billion aircraft, and of course, billion is not an exaggeration in any way. That is completely factually accurate for this game. But going to be re-expanding to his main, always a good late game move is the re-expand to your main move, which I know that's my favorite thing to do in Red Alert 3, just re-expand. Okay, you know, whatever, my main got blown up, I'll just go back and take it all over. And for a second there, because of that wonky driving by that Prospector, I thought that he actually placed his refinery wrong, and I was about to just flip tables and say, Lictor, you absolutely do know what you're doing because you didn't place that refinery wrong, which I have done in a multiplayer game, which is pretty much the worst thing you can do. At that point, you should probably just leave the game. Like, even if it's the first thing you do, you should definitely leave the game, because you should probably just quit Red Alert 3 for that day. Just walk out and say, nope, I am done, because that's what I do. Quitters never win, winners never quit until they do. And that's the lesson, kids. Don't be like me, or else you'll be terrible at Red Alert 3, but not too bad at casting. However, Aegis Shields, mass Aegis Shield, are going to be saving all of these units, possibly. And is the split going to be good enough out of Lictor? No, he's going to be losing quite a few infantry if there's any fire on them. But the, oh, shoot, the sentry bombers will be dropping bombs on everything. And Konghans could definitely be taking this game back. I still have no idea who's going to win, because the last time I thought that Lictor was out of it, Konghans ended up losing all of those forces. I mean, Konghans still definitely, for sure, has a huge advantage. But, you know, losing a sentry bomber is never a good thing, and actually going to be bringing his MCV back, I'm guessing, to re-expand up here, although I could be wrong. Tanya, on the other hand, we have seen her been used to quite extreme effect in some recent games. No spoilers, though. However, we do need... I wish you could, like, tag units, because we really do need to keep an eye on the sentry bomber. Okay, it's not that difficult to watch this one sentry bomber. But, you know, other games where it gets a little bit more confusing. And is the MCV actually going to go down? Not with these cryocopters here. If the cryocopters are here, what do we have? Tanya just gets totally taken out, and Lictor totally on top of that. Goodness, that attack just went the worst it possibly could. I didn't even think Tanya was going to get to evacuate out of that sentry bomber before it got taken out. That prospector, where's that prospector going? I'm guessing he wants to expand down here, take himself a 5th ore node as his... He's got a grand left in his main ore nodes, in his primary, and in his original ore nodes, but he is, of course, looking to re-expand, and these Apollos may very well spot that, although no, just kidding, because they are going to be turning around. However, the Dolphin is going to be out for Lictor, and actually Konghans did keep a hold of his seaport this entire time, which means he, of course, at any time can start rebuilding his naval forces if he decides to. But there goes that hydrofoil, which it's not really like an anti-scout, it's more like a, hey, I'm definitely taking this expansion in case you didn't notice, I'm taking it back, so we're going to be on equal economic footing, at least until the sentry bombers take everything out, and there goes one, and possibly even both of the sentry bombers, or I guess there was 3 sentry bombers, but yeah, 1 sentry bomber will escape, 2 of them do escape on home, and as do the Apollos. So Lictor, he really has been fighting from behind for the majority of this game, and actually, if he gets lucky, I don't think he can actually take out that multi-gunner turret, but potentially he could, but just kidding. Whereas the Chronosphere, Konghans is like, nope, not going to do it. I am not going to go out of this game without a Chronosphere. Another thing, this game is a first for a number of things. We saw like the first Dolphin jump, and also the first Chronosphere, not Cryocopter. Where did that Dolphin go? Dolphin, this is your perfect opportunity to engage. Lictor, you could totally even up the economic footing, but this Dolphin is going to get taken out by that Vindicator. I can only imagine right there. Yes, no! The jump is too good, too powerful. Jump is OP, and the cryo shot is, actually that's like Cryogeddon, is going to be going down. He should be able to freeze absolutely everything up, and he get it? No, he gets the sell off, and he just sells everything off, but the heroic status to that Dolphin has been awarded, which means, in some absolutely bizarre twist of events, Lictor and Konghans are now on at least somewhat equal economic footing. Now that this ore mining operation is back up and running, needs to go ahead and sell off that command hub, unless he really does want to build more Spectrum towers there, or even just base defenses in general. But the Dolphin down there doesn't actually get taken out. You need 4 bombs to take out a heroic Dolphin, but will they get the sentry bombers at all, or will they simply just escape? And good job sniping. You know, you don't often see Harvester harass, or rather Refinery harass, with sentry bombers, but it is rather quite effective. And you can just, I mean, they're basically terror drones at this point. You just send them in, and they take out the ore collector, and also the building, and like anything that's around it, and you know, just anything in general. They'll just kind of destroy it all. And actually, Konghans, is he going to be going for the MCV? That would at least take out the build Q4 Lictor and allow Konghans to, you know, just kind of stop those refineries from going down. But oh no! Flippy, our heroic Dolphin, did get taken out by the cruel multi-gunner turret. Future Tech, you have gone too far. Finally, a Mirage tank is out on the field, but will it simply get frozen down, or maybe even shrunk? I guess I could actually use the proper terminology there, but yeah, he might just get it shrunk and then run over. And oh, the Cryogeddon isn't going to be good enough Yes, it is going to be good enough to freeze like 3 units there and also force the sell-off of, oh no, 4 units. Force the sell-off of that multi-gunner turret, and this could be it. An all-out offensive from Konghans. 1 and no more. 2 cryocopters do go down. The Aegis shields are now down, and Cryogeddon has been fired. However, Konghan is going to be rolling over this base like there is no tomorrow. He isn't going to be, yes, he is going to be taking out that barracks. It would be a mistake not to. And Konghans is most likely going to be able to clean up this game. We are going to be back onto 3 refineries. How in the world can Lictor get out of this? Well, that's the question. Can he get out of it at all? He did manage to survive once, but a Athena cannon laser from the sky for 1 single Peacekeeper doesn't seem like overkill at all. And no, he's going to be hunkering down, throwing down dual barracks, and he's even rocking the armor facility. And he's actually going to be upgrading that command hub, so I guess he wants to keep building with his tree on the high ground, but keep building with his Conyard, I suppose. He definitely could. Tanya not actually being an asset in that fight. She just kind of hung back, and now she's just chilling on the center ridge, not doing anything and not really joining in the festivities. By festivities, I do mean shooting your fellow man, because that's what you do in the Christmas season, or I guess, you know, any other major holiday, anytime ever season, because, you know, war doesn't really care. Did we just get philosophical? We might have. But the Apollos are going to be escaping on out of here, and Konghans is going to be taking 1 down. Lictor will lose 1, but oh, actually, Konghans going to be losing an Apollo as well. And you know that Apollo guy. And oh, the Cryogeddon, it is going to be good enough, taking out 1 Mirage tank. How did this one not die? There it does go down. Right there, those Athena cannons are kind of brutal, and by kind of brutal, I mean super brutal. Lictor, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Stop it. You're winning somehow this battle. Swung back into the favor of Lictor. I really have no idea how he's doing this. Oh, shoot, forgot to turn on health bars, but actually the entire army. What? Lictor, you're breaking the game. I feel like you're cheating. You shouldn't be allowed to be this good and have it. What in the world is even going on? This game has just progressed from a normal, like, it started out kind of slow as far as allied mirrors go, and then it just turned into the craziest, wonkiest, most Lictor comeback ever. And Lictor's actually been able to do a significant amount of damage to Konghans, and he's just got all of this money to re-expand over and over and over again. Might just be time to try and sack that expansion, forcing the sentry bombers to fly at least a little bit further to try and, you know, take out that one or this one over there. Would give a better opportunity. Oh, and what actually happened there? I know the Chronosphere fired, but I was assuming he was going to try and take out some units. Of course, another fun thing to do is transport units either onto the water or onto land. Just sort of Chronosphere stuff all around, you know, like an Athena cannon, that would give you an advantage. But it is not going to be, and actually just remassing his army, trying to re-macro up to the strength that he once had. We're seeing more of the favor of Mirage tanks rather than Athena cannons, at least at this point. He is just going to be pumping out those Mirage tanks. And even going to be, goodness, what in the world is going on? Is he looking to re-expand somewhere, possibly down here? That would be quite a good expansion to take. But Tanya may actually get into this fight a little bit, but we're get out of here. A curious mix of units, Mirage tanks, which of course turn into delivery trucks and a tree. But Mirage tanks, Javelin troopers, Tanya for that anti-infantry, and of course the cryocopters as support for everything. And this could very well be the final push of this game. Konghans, what are you doing? I guess he's going to be pulling back. No, he's just relining up all of his Mirage tanks, and of course Apollo's still going to be supporting those cryocopters. So they're getting into a really fancy line. This is a good looking line out of Konghans. It's a pretty scary looking line actually. But the sell-off of the buildings from Lictor, he sold off both of his barracks, and he's actually going to be dropping a wall and then I guess placing his Javelin troopers behind that. And man, these guys are getting old school on us. They're just like making walls and setting up strategic defenses, all sorts of stuff. But he's going to be making a barricade, just a little bit of a defense, a little bit of a buffer zone, if you will. And oh, Oh, the precision bomber, so good. Wasn't able to take out Tanya. Tanya not, oh, no, just kidding. She is going to activate her time belt and going to be re-expanding to this expansion, but I guess also not re-expanding over here. So Konghans is desperately trying to get onto those 6 ore nodes, which actually really, so that's, yeah, depleted. Let's do a quick depleted round 3. All 4 are depleted, which means he's getting, because you only get 75 credits per load for depleted. Goodness, Lictor, Lictor, whatever your name is, what are you doing? This is absolutely absurd. Where are all of these aircraft? They are going to be up here, and the cryocopters as well are going to get picked off a little bit. They're not actually going to go down by that Apollo. And I guess nothing actually is going to happen, just some aircraft doing some all sorts of fancy work and the delivery truck lines. But so yeah, depleted ore nodes, 75 credits per load, which does mean that the income for actually, shoot, he does have that additional, he has that upgrade that gives you a little bit more income per trip, which I forget what that actually takes it up to. It was 75. It's 75 if you're, you know, the Soviets or the Empire, or if you don't have that upgrade. And all of these walls are going to be funneling these infantry and really messing with the pathing, especially with the cliff edge here and there. It's really messing with the pathing and funneling all of these units. And Lictor, what are you doing? How are you doing this? That is what I want to know. But he's actually going to be using the chronosphere in an interesting way, and the Cryogeddon may actually freeze up that army, and then the army pulls back. It was purely a distraction, but everything does get locked down completely. Lictor, you are a wizard, sir. How do you keep doing this? Using walls to defeat, at least in numbers, a somewhat superior army. I don't actually know if how Lictor's army matched up, because Konghans' army matched up, but Konghans is now going to be in somewhat of a retreat. He's going to lose this expansion again, which he's already lost that quite a few times. There's going to be the drones, but just all of the production capabilities out of Konghans is going to show us that he is certainly not out of this yet, although this army out of Lictor is looking pretty darn scary, and this match is absolutely pretty darn epic, and I don't understand how Lictor has managed to hold on at this point. And maybe once we get to those resource graphs, they'll tell us a little bit more, but completely missing all of those. Oh, almost crashing. Well, he did crash onto those Athena cannons, possibly because of those heroic or elite status. They were able to survive. But Tanya, will she get sniped? One more laser could snipe her, but the Athena cannon is going to get not taken out, and actually Tanya getting frozen up a little bit there, and with all of these infantry attacking her, she does go down. One Athena cannon out of Konghans. This very well could be it for him, although Lictor is certainly not victorious yet, and somehow Lictor actually has more stuff than Konghans. I guess all of those expansions drying up, and the Apollo's fighting in the air, so no one is happy in this situation. And the mass sell-off by Konghans. Is this the fire sale? Is this over? Is this it? No, he is going to be not actually building anything. He's just going to be holding off up here, and he's going to be trying to just stay alive for a couple more minutes. Even the water expansion is not safe, gets taken out by the Athena cannons. They're exceptional range, making them quite good at taking that stuff out. However, the Javelin Trooper is going to be moving in here, and this Peacekeeper will get taken out, even if it is by the rockets of those Javelin Troopers. And the Peacekeepers will be able to take down that refinery, and goodness, everything is getting taken out for Konghans. Can he mount a final assault with an aircraft carrier? And oh, the EMP strike on those Athena cannons. 2 of them do go down. However, the oil derrick actually holding enough power to destroy a 3rd Athena cannon. Now the Athena cannon is on the move. It will get taken out right there. I thought it might have gone out of range, but it did not, in fact, go out of range, which means we're going to be seeing a little bit of a base trade and actually selling off that naval yard, I do believe. So who is in the world going to win this? Neither of these players. Actually, there's the MC. I was gonna say, does Lictor not actually have his MCV? Yeah, he moved off to the water. Konghans is virtually safe at this point, while Lictor, basically everywhere on the land you can get hit. But oh, the micro isn't going to be good enough. No, Lictor losing absolutely everything. No, actually, he's not going to lose anything if nothing shoots all of those units. 2 Peacekeepers coming in from the side. They will clean up the remainder of this army for Lictor. What in the world? Apollo's over here somehow. Frozen battle aircraft carrier, so I'm guessing that was a precision bomber strike mixed with a Cryogeddon, much like over here, except for, you know, Cryogeddon mixed with those Peacekeepers, and going to be re-expanding again to his main. And of course, Konghans going to be trying to get something back online, as Lictor is as well. Just the mass sell-off is really only going to be keeping his refinery and then just scrapping all of the rest, trying to get those last few units up and ready. However, are there any actual aircraft that can shoot stuff on the ground? I think not. This could very well be the last few aircraft for Lictor and also for Konghans, although Apollo's not going to be all that useful in the following battles. Although there was that one game, neither player had anything. I think it was 2 Apollos on one side and then a ore collector on the other side, and they were trying to take down their last buildings. And of course, Apollos can't shoot ground, so what the allied player did was actually he shot one of his own Apollos down in an attempt to crash it onto the building. Didn't actually work, I don't think. And yeah, actually, it is going to be only 75 credits for that allied player, and desperately trying to re-expand. There is a little bit of resources here. It's hardly worth it, though. 2,000 credits. You're going to just make back what you spend to even get that expansion up and running. And oh, the ticking time bomb isn't going to be enough. I actually can't tell whose that is. I'm guessing that it is going to be Konghans, but Lictor going to be cleaning up the remainder of those Peacekeepers, and the Javelin Troopers are going to be chilling on the side, and that single Peacekeeper is trying to stay alive as long as possible. And actually, with the MCV there, those Javelin Troopers will be able to reach it, at least with the laser lock ability. However, these buildings are safe, but at that point, Lictor will basically win the game if he's able to clean up everything on the land. Although, it might be better to just hold your units back. He might have a Cryogeddon ready and waiting to freeze down these units. I'm guessing that's why Konghans is actually moving forward with those Peacekeepers. He could be trying to bait them back as well, because Lictor definitely has the advantage in numbers right now. However, with a Prospector and then also a couple of more Peacekeepers, they might be able to overcome this strike force out of Lictor. And Lictor going to be turning into a unified front. Can he make it to the building? Although that may not be the best choice, as those Peacekeepers in that dropping out their riot shields are quite tough regardless of whether you're in a building or not. They are going to be able to snipe down one building. The Cryogeddon on these 3 buildings, or on these 2 buildings, and rather that other building not actually going to be getting, oh, one refiner, one Javelin Trooper does escape. However, is this going to be an even Steven trade for the Peacekeepers? No, it is going to favor Lictor just a little bit, and that one, oh, gets sniped down completely. So actually, turns out freezing yourself may be the way to survive, at least survive the Peacekeeper shots out of Konghans. And somehow Konghans still in this game, but also somehow Lictor still in this game. Has a couple of hydrofoils spread throughout, and actually he might be able to bring those on, depending, you might want to need to bring them back depending on what Lictor actually builds, especially with that. How is either one of these players actually doing any of this? I have no idea. Yeah, he might need to reroute those. Konghans actually has been defeated, so Lictor is somehow the victor. Really, how in the world did that happen? I do have to ask. But so Lictor, GG to him. Wow, that game was absolutely insane. 33 minutes, 9 seconds. That was absolutely crazy. And actually, that unit kill to death ratio is quite similar for both of these players. And let's just take a quick look at that resource graph. Identical up until about 8 minutes in, where Lictor starts to drop down, and then of course his expansions just kept getting owned by Konghans, and Konghans actually able to lose that game. That doesn't actually sound right. Lictor actually able to win that game, so Konghans playing very strong. wtfMEplz almost able to beat Lictor, but Lictor somehow, someway, I feel like he was just cheating that entire time. That's of course not true. Do not take that seriously. I'm not accusing Lictor of cheating. Don't be absurd. This is going to be Sybert signing out.